What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is Sicat Kickboxing, and today I'm going to be showing you how to do the switch kick. Now, before we get started, guys, if you're getting value out of this channel and you're learning a lot, I've been doing kickboxing all my life. If you could please like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. Also, if you have a friend that wants to learn kickboxing, please share this video with them. It's word of mouth that really gets a boost in this channel, and I don't have any sponsors, so if you wanted to help out and support the channel so I could get feedback, please do that. And I've been running a podcast for quite a while now. I'm about 40 episodes deep, and if you like martial arts and a little bit of self-improvement, I'll leave a link down below on the descriptions, and also sign up to my newsletter. So now I'm gonna be showing you the switch kick. Guys, this move right here, I know I've talked about some hard basic moves in kickboxing, kind of like the body shot where you shift your weight, or the hook is very complex because when you first start doing it, you don't have like the mechanics in your body yet to be able to do the move, so it's repetition. But this one takes the cake out of all of them because it's such a move that you need a lot of practice and coordination with, that you just have to do it over and over. Now, I know that's like anything else, but this move, oh my goodness. I mean, just from my experience and other people that I've coached just in general, is such a complex move. Obviously, once you get the movements to it, it gets a lot easier. So guys, repetition is king. Don't get frustrated, be patient with yourself, and don't give up, okay? So as always, before I go on the bag and demonstrate, I'll show you guys the motion, step-by-step motion, so that you get the hang of it. Now, the switch kick, just a little bit of a brief description, is when pretty much you're switching stances to surprise your opponent and get them off guard. Technically, like I said, when you're switching stances, it confuses the other opponent's brain, because now when you switch stances, your non-dominant becomes your dominant. So what I mean by that, before I go and explain the move, if I switch, right, this is my traditional stance, my unorthodox stance right here, orthodox, and I'm gonna switch. So before I explain the move again, I'm gonna switch, right? Now look, my now rear dominant is now my front. It's my lead now, right? So it'll confuse the opponent, because usually when you're fighting someone, they're looking for that dominant hand, because that's your power hand. That's mainly what they're gonna be looking for. Not that they're not gonna be looking for your non-dominant hand, because you could still hit with those, but it hurts a lot more when you get hit with your power dominant hand, right? Because your dominant rear and your dominant hand are your power shots. That's where a lot of the power that's going to be coming from. Again, not that a lead hook, that's a very powerful shot, maybe one of your most powerful, but mostly people are looking for your dominant, because that's where you get the most power out of your kickboxing tools. So again, when we switch stances, so say I'll just do a basic without doing the switch stance. If I switch stances like this, now this becomes my dominant hand, my power hand. And what that does to the opponent's way of thinking is that he's not looking for that hand, because he's used to looking for this one, right? And I know this is more of like in the advanced stages, but I just want to get a brief description on why we're doing this, because I will be showing the switch stance and like the basic mechanics, so you kind of get the gist of why you're doing the move and how it can get your opponent off track to kind of trick them and surprise them. So let's get right into the move. So when you switch stances, I'm gonna show you the switch kick, okay? Because that's a very often used move when it comes to Muay Thai. Not that you can't switch and then punch, but the switch kick is number one of the most powerful moves when it comes to switching stances, and it does create an element of surprise when you're fighting an opponent. So I'm gonna break down the move. So like always, guys, hands up. I'm in my traditional stance here with my dominant in the back, with my dominant back foot in the back, and my dominant rear in the back as well, along with my back foot or back leg. So when I'm standing here, look guys, when I'm switching, I'm going to literally switch as described. I'm gonna switch my footing, okay? You see that? Notice guys, when I do that, it's not a big movement. I'm gonna be reiterating this throughout the whole video because that's the biggest mistake that people make. And I'm gonna do it off the bat because that's the biggest mistake that people make, is that their step is too big. It's too big. So technically, you don't want to telegraph it when you're switching stances because like I said, it's an element of surprise. So what I mean is when people switch stances, look, I'm in my orthodox, they'll kind of lift this knee up and quote unquote gallop. They'll gallop like a horse. Like they're showing their opponent what they're literally gonna do. And then that takes away the element of surprise, and it kind of takes away from the purpose why you're doing a switch, right? So here, I'll show you. This is most people, okay? Most people when they start, and it's okay, you know, practice is king, and repetitions is king. So most people will look, they'll kind of lift this knee up when they're switching and do a big step like that. Notice how my body, you could just see my whole body move. With anything in fighting, as you get better, you want to quote unquote cut the fat, meaning you don't want too much movement so your opponent doesn't see it coming, the move that you're gonna do. So again, when people start off with a switch kick, they'll do this. They'll do a big movement. I'll do it slow. They'll do a big movement, like lift their knee up and then switch, right? It's such a big drastic move. I'll do it again. They'll go, don't do that. Like, I'm gonna tell you off the bat because I don't want you to get bad habits. I want you to do this, all right? This is the way to do switch kicks. And this isn't like a gloat or anything, but back when I was competing and back in my heyday, oh man, my switch kick literally was the best weapon because of how subtly I did it, all right? So the switch kick, I'm doing my version now, is that, look, I'm literally just skipping. I'm doing a small skip. You see that? That I want to reiterate that too, okay? I'm gonna take my time on this because look, compared to this, when people use their knee up, and I still coach people that do that till this day, and I have to constantly fix it. But compared to this, look, I'll do it from this angle. You see that? It's such a quick step. I'm not lifting my feet too high to where the opponent sees it. When you do that, it's like you're going on slow-mo. When you're lifting your feet too high and you have your knee up and you're switching, because I guarantee you when people first start that, and I know, you know, some coaches that kind of teach it that way, which personally, I'm just gonna say it flat out that it's completely wrong. I know I usually say that, you know, never say never, but man, I would never, you know, try to take a gallop unless it was just for, you know, to show my opponent to feint or something, right? Like, I guess it's never say never, but in this instance, I'm showing you the move. So again, you want a subtle step, all right? That's the first thing that you have to do. You want subtle, small steps without lifting your feet too far off the ground, all right? You want small, subtle steps without lifting your feet too far off the ground, all right? So again, what I mean by that is not a big step, okay? Not a big step. Look at my feet. And guys, you can do this slow. It doesn't have to be just quick like that, like how I'm doing. See, I'll do it slow for you guys. Look. Okay, look. I'm not lifting the knee. I'm not making any big movements. Again, like I said, I'm gonna get a little annoying here because I want you to, this is the most important part of the switch kick. Like this is literally the most important part. Other than the stepping itself, this is the technique, okay? So again, don't do a big movement, don't lift your knee up, and don't gallop into the switch. Now the next part of the switch, the second step of it, is that when you're switch kicking, right, you already want to be one step ahead. So meaning, in the transition of where I'm switching, here, I already want to step my foot this way. So this angle. So remember when I was telling you guys, now you're switching stances. Now you're in the position to, your dominant is now your lead. So that is gonna be the lever for you to turn your kick over, right? You remember with my kicking videos? If you haven't, you know, go back and it's my roundhouse how to kick video. I've made a video towards that, so that'd be a good start. But when we kick, so I'll just demonstrate here. Remember when we kick, I'll do an original kick. When we kick, you want to step this way, I was explaining, right? To turn your hip all the way over. So I'll show you real quick. When you kick, look, I want to step so my hip turns over. Right? Again, hands up, guys, when you're doing all this. So when I'm stepping like that, what I mean is when you want to do it in transition, you want to, when you switch, you want to already be stepping your foot at an angle. Again, once you switch, you want, look at my feet. I automatically just did it because it's in my body habits already, right? I made it second nature. Look. I'm not going to be parallel. You see? Right here. I'm not going to be down the line, is what I call it, down the train tracks, okay? I'm gonna be stepping what's gonna be my lead foot and angle it out already as I'm switch kicking, okay? Look, I'll show you again. Look, this is what I mean, okay? Look, I'll do it slow. When I switch, look at where my foot is at already. Look, it's at an angle ready for me to lift the heel up, be on my toes, and then turn with my now dominant rear leg to kick. Again, look, I'm not here parallel because now I have to do an extra step, right? As I'm switching, I'm already taking my foot at an angle going this way, okay? Look. You see that? You see that? That's to set up for me, again, to get my heel up, toes up, and get an angle so I could turn this leg and my hip all the way over. Again, watch my kicking video if you need a little review. See, look, now I'll do it in full motion. I'm gonna switch, and then look. I can turn it into a roundhouse Muay Thai kick, a powerful roundhouse Muay Thai kick, right? And what that does at the same time, when you're switching and you're turning over the hip, it confuses the opponent because you're switching right away, and now your non-dominant kicking leg is now your dominant kicking leg, which kind of confuses his brain, okay? So again, I'm gonna go through that one more time. This, again, is very, very important. This is the technique, guys. Not even the kick itself. The kick, you already know, if you've been repping it out, you already know how to do that. You're just turning the hip over, trying to slice this bag in half, and then you're going back with your hands up, back to defending. So, again, when you're switching here, already have the angle. Already have the angle to where you're stepping this way, ready to kick. So what we call that is the going into transition. All right, that's going into transition, so that you don't. At first, okay, let me go back. At first, you want to break it down into steps, like always. All right, I always encourage you to do that. Break it down into steps if you're just starting with your kickboxing journey, and then you put it all together, and then you could speed it up, but only when you feel comfortable. All right, I'm doing it all, breaking it down step by step, so that you can actually practice the movements and break it down. And then once you get the hang of it, keep going fast, or keep going faster and faster, and then you'll see that you'll do it in one fluid motion. Okay, so let me just go back to the first step, which is don't gallop, don't take a big step, make it nice and subtle. Okay, right? There's the first step. Here's the second step, is that you want your dominant foot, which is gonna be your non-dominant foot, to go at an angle now for you to be ready to kick with your heel up and toes up to turn your hip over for the switch kick. Here it is. Subtle step. Look at where my foot is. And look, I'm gonna shadow this, okay? My hip can now turn all the way over once I take that angle. So now it's time for me to demonstrate on the bag, okay? And again, guys, at first I'm gonna use about 40-50% just for the technique purposes and see how powerful it is. And so you could always also track the movement, all right? There it is again. So here, I'm gonna subtly step. My foot's gonna be going off the angle already, and look, I'm already here. Now, I'm gonna go back to a southpaw stance, guys, because that's where I'm gonna end up when my kick bounces off the bag, okay? I can kind of, what's it called? When I kick, I can go back to my original stance, but that's just an extra step. For this purpose, I'm gonna stay in southpaw, which is my non-dominant stance, okay? So again here, look, do it slow. I'm going to subtly step, look where my foot is, it's already at an angle, and look, that gives me room to turn my hip over and land the kick. And remember, guys, with the kick, be mindful of your hands, kind of like you're throwing ninja star, so you have the frame so that in case you do miss the kick, you have a frame against your opponent to keep them away, okay? Always have your hands up, always gonna say that, guys, because that's the most important thing in kickboxing. But again, look, now I'm gonna do it real slow, okay? Going back to my stance, hands up, nice and subtle, taking an angle. Going back, one more time, guys. You want to switch very subtly. You want the foot already going at an angle, and then from there, you kick like how you normally kick with your good technique, all right? Like a roundhouse kick. I'm gonna do it several more times, just in live motion, you know, how I would do it in a fight, so that you see how powerful the kick is and how quick it is, to where it gets your opponent off track and just completely surprises them, okay? And this is gonna be, again, guys, 40-50% of my power. You see how powerful that is, guys? It's anything with technique. I want to reiterate this. Anything with technique, technique is king, repetition is king. Don't get frustrated. Once you have the technique, the power will just come with it. Don't try to hit the bag or anything else with maximum power just yet. Get the technique down first, because the power will come with the technique. Keep doing it over and over, and even if you didn't want to get good at the technique for some reason, you have no choice but to. Once you get the practice in, okay? So I encourage you guys, especially the ones that are just starting with kickboxing, these are complex moves, guys. You know, it's not easy when you first start. You have to keep doing it, and I encourage you all to just keep practice. Practice makes perfect, like anything else in life. And yeah, I just want to thank you for watching the video. And again, guys, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the podcast that I have going. The links will be down below, and also my Substack newsletter. And again, guys, thank you for watching, and I really do enjoy doing these videos for you guys.